In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome everybody to another episode of the Moon Tea Podcast, hosted by John Kim and Hugh Berryman, myself. So what we do here is we talk about anything and everything. We've been discussing a lot about crypto lately, but we kind of have the goal of just talking about craft, community, and the pursuit of building meaningful careers, and anything that falls in that type of umbrella and outside of it. We've got a Twitter, by the way. Tweeted us, the Moon Tea Podcast and an email if you ever want to DM us and something like that. So the Moon Tea Podcast at gmail.com. With that, take it away, John.
Yo.
Hey.
What's up?
Another week's gone by. Eugene was fun last week. That was so fun. I miss him already.
Yeah. I was pretty confused by the end, but I was like, cool. It's nice to have that perspective in our podcast. And for the 1 or 2 listeners, we'll have more guests for you. Don't worry. It won't be just us forever. Yeah, how has your week been?
It's been busy. Lots of work. Been fun though. Just kind of getting through scaling issues. We've been trying to grow out our design team. That was fun at work. Personal life, it's going fine. I've been eating a lot of oatmeal and some almonds and such. Been making that every morning with some eggs. So hey, next up, gotta make some a good lunch. But I made a spaghetti the other day for dinner, and I was like, yeah, go John. Episode whatever 7 or 6 or John's posture up to so good.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Yeah, building my life up bit by bit. Moon Tea Podcasts, improving it. What about you?
Yeah, pretty much the same. Work is busy, taking a lot of my mental resources. Yeah, I mean, we're building a lot of features and just juggling a lot of things. And there's only like 3 of us working on our specific project full time, but we're getting a little bit more and more help from outside of the company.
Nice. Getting some mentors or some additional resources to tap to make it.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. But enough about work.
Training well for your marathon, your triathlon?
I run like maybe once or twice a week, and then once in a while during my lunch break I'll cycle. Nice. At a like the cycle machine. But yeah, I've actually been rock climbing a little bit more, and yeah, I'll be in LA sometime later this month, so I'll be swimming for that week. So hopefully I get enough running and swimming and biking that week when I have access to more stuff.
Wait, when are you going to be in LA? I think I might be in LA later this month too.
May 22nd. Are you going after the Palm Springs thing?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'll stay there for another day or 2. I was going to say I'd assist for sure. But other than that, yeah, I'll be in LA though with you.
on the same day?
Well, no, I don't know. You have Palm Springs and then LA so close. Why not?
Yeah, I'm going right after Palm Springs. So, oh, cool. We can carpool.
Oh, that could be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, your sister lives in Pasadena, which is like 10-15 minute drive from my parents.
And I'm gonna be like, Julia, I'm here to annoy you. Hi.
Are you staying for the whole week, or?
I just asked for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off, and then I didn't ask for the next week off, so maybe I'll come back Sunday or something.
Oh, okay.
Sunday or Monday. We'll see. More I'll work from there. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm working from there. I mean, yeah. Cool.
Nice. Well, everybody, that's totally tangential. Well, John and I don't. This is where we catch up to. So
We just record it, and hey, it's up to you if you want
I'm
to
so
listen to it
sorry.
or not.
No wonder. We do talk about interesting things though, here and there.
Yeah. Let's see what's interesting.
How much do we want to keep talking about crypto is the question, or do you want to try to tangent?
If something interesting comes up, then happy to talk about it. I feel like when it's a bull market, which it is right now, there's a lot of noise to sort through. So like people are excited about it, and then you start getting a lot of memes, and you just get this like giant circle jerk of people being like, it's gonna go up. Like I heard this thing from this guy who works at this place, and he said adoption is coming. And then everyone's like, oh yeah, to the moon. And it's so sad because I was actually on the Bitcoin subreddit, and one day I found a way to look at posts from like 7 years ago. And so I was reading through posts from like 2011, and people are writing long form content about like monetary policy and like what Bitcoin could be and like what it means for central banks. And like people are writing like just like having like an actual like discussion about the topic. And I guess as it got bigger and bigger, there was like less and less of that. Or maybe I'm not looking in the right places, but yeah, I would read through that and just be like, wow, this is like people really get it. And it's like 2011, so they're all probably doing okay for themselves. And I was like, man, why couldn't I hang out with these people when I was in college?
Seriously.
But didn't have disposable income either, so would not have changed things too much. But yeah, it's interesting. Like I would love to like I would love to read more of that, of people having just talking more about just like having a intelligent conversation about it and like being thoughtful. And that's kind of hard to find. And so it kind of becomes less fun for me. Like the memes are funny, not gonna lie, but it's just like, okay, I'm not gonna care as much like as the memes keep coming. Uh like it doesn't like I don't really learn anything. But I will say when Bitcoin first crossed 9,000, and you know the Vegeta meme where he's like, it's
Yeah.
over
Over
9,000.
9,000.
Like that was just like filling it up everywhere, and that was hilarious. And that was great, but can't really top that.
No, you can't. That's really funny. I wish I were in the game by that time. At that time, that's so funny. Oh man.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's interesting. I was reading the Kraken market recap in April, and it's
I
funny you
skimmed
just
through
said
that.
that.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, the r/Bitcoin Reddit subreddit has 1.6 million viewers. The
Wow.
Ethereum one has 836K viewers or
Wow.
subscribers. And then the Cardano one just went up by 50K this past stretch. And so it's at
Nice.
633K.
Cool.
Yeah, it's just interesting that you said that, because I think that's also a thing, is that type of conversation is going to definitely get diminished as it scales up. And those are just community forums. Like,
I think yeah, on average, like you'll still find good stuff. You just have to sort through it. You can't just like Google Bitcoin book anymore and like assume that
it's
it's
going to be
all
good.
really thoughtful. So I think like stuff by Andreas Antonopoulos and the professor guy who wrote Bitcoin Standard.
Saifian
There's
Amus.
yeah.
Amus Saifian. Yeah.
So there's some stuff there.
Nice.
So
Yeah. I feel you there. I was actually, it's funny. I get a lot of my information from YouTube videos, and that's at least how I start things. When I go down deep rabbit holes, I just kind of watch every YouTube video and every moment that I have, I guess, and I don't get tired of it for a bit, but then I do. With regards to the crypto thing, just about 2-3 days ago, I finally gotten through most of those high level, really cool spaces, like, Coin Bureau. I really enjoy. Like, I'll put a name out for him. I think he breaks down things really well. But him and others, like, he's a bit better, but a number of others I've been seeing that when I just like Google, Bitcoin or Ethereum or other things, and then try to find videos, they're all about technical analyses, and they're all about reading charts or certain type of volumetric things. And I realized after watching more than 20 is there's very little discussion about the true depths. Like when you look, like I've been looking up Ethereum versus Cardano recently, and I've been trying to deep dive into the difference between smart contracts. So I said Ethereum smart contracts versus Cardano smart contracts, and you don't get much. The video comparisons of ETH, ADA, and Polkadot are really very mediocre. And I was curious about that. And I was like, why is that? And so no one's talking about smart contract programming language, TPS, transaction per seconds, the different updates that are going into depth, except for like, yeah, this new update's going to be game changer. I'm up to $3. You're like, okay, but why?
Right.
And I've been recently just realizing, oh, I'm going to have to start writing and learning the nuances myself. Did you know? So let's just tangent there, since all we talk about is crypto, and I love it.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
I also watch those videos, and the moment someone opens a graph and starts talking about it, they've lost all credibility to me. And maybe it's because I'm not smart enough to look at those angles and like try to understand things from there. But like, I think the other thing is like, it's also not that interesting. Like if the only goal is to make money, like, yeah, I mean, like that's a totally reasonable goal. But then I feel like it's one of those things where if you're just trying to make money, you're probably not going to do that well. If you're trying to learn and you make a big bet and like make money as an outcome, then I suspect that way you'll actually make money. And so it's just this weird thing where if you have this goal, you have to have like a tangential goal in order to reach that other goal. Yeah. But like you have the benefit of learning about the industry and about the projects and about the tech behind it. So yeah, that's all I had to say. But again, maybe we should have someone who looks at charts and does really well. I think that'd be the only caveat. Be like, you would have to have done well for yourself, and well, we're happy to hear what you have to say. So if any of you looks at charts for a living and does well for yourself, hit us up. All right. What were you gonna say?
We'll have to think about it. But with regards to the charts, though, I did find one chart to be interesting. So the technical analysis charts, I totally get it. Like Fibonacci, it just hit the Fibonacci rainbow pattern, and you're like, what? I really don't know.
Someone made that up.
Yeah, it's cool. And so there's like an interesting one that I saw for Ethereum recently, where it was talking about the amount of the price going up and the amount of Ethereum that was staked. And so I think those are really good charts. So I want to find more of those, and I don't see those in enough videos, which is now I'm kind of like, oh, that's interesting how that's kind of not discussed. And I'm trying to find like a central place to find staking information of how much is staked, because I didn't think it was right when I was looking at Ethereum on CoinMarketCap just last night. I was trying to find, there's like a toggle where it says circulating supply and total supply. And for Ethereum, I was just a bit confused because there wasn't very much difference, and it didn't make sense to me, because I need to figure it out. Yeah, it didn't really make too much sense. So with regards to all of that, I do think that I would like more technical comparisons between Cardano, ADA, and then Polkadot, Dot, and Ethereum, ETH. And I've been thinking a lot about it as we kind of go down it. I really do think Bitcoin is really, really great as a digital gold. But the more I read in the past few months, and the more I actually am getting on board to this to know, the less I'm being convinced that Bitcoin is like the one huzzah for all. I think it'll be a good store of value, but the more I'm like reading about the ecosystem, the less utility I see it having. A cross-border transaction, B2B, like the payment network, sure, first of its kind. Proof of work, I'm getting less and less convinced on.
Okay.
Due to different solutions, like proof of stake is an interesting transition, but with the ability for like Ethereum staking pools to have to buy hardware that scales up with their staking pools.
So it's kind of like a hybrid between proof of work and proof of stake.
Yeah, and I want to look more into it. So I don't, well, in a few episodes, we'll probably go into it because I'm just beginning to dive into those details. But then you've got like Solano, and I was just talking to a gentleman just yesterday about Solano and their proof of time, and they use the SHA-256 and how to do that. And so there are different types of ideas on how to do it, and the more I look into proof of work, the more I'm like, oh, I don't exactly know. And then the other thing I want to figure out more about are transactions per second. So right, you've got the block size limit and then the forks for Bitcoin Cash and SV and stuff, but Bitcoin is the 10 megabyte block with 10-minute transactions per block, or 10-minute block times to be created. And then within it, you've got X transactions per second. What is it, 7? And
yeah.
then
Also, I think it's a 1 megabyte block.
is for
I think
for Bitcoin?
Yeah, for Bitcoin.
Is it really?
I think so.
Let me look that up. Bitcoin block size.
And then I think BCH is 4 megabytes.
Oh yeah, I mixed that up. That was the fork. They wanted more block size in it, right? And that's why they forked it. Yeah, I totally messed that up. And yeah, that makes sense. And I'm curious actually, so just because it's so much hype, because we'll get into that one, is there a block size limit on, no, I don't even want to, on Doge? Oh my goodness. I've been asked about Doge so many times recently. Okay.
Well, yeah. You're the Doge expert among your community.
No, it's the troll coin of the community. But it's really funny. I just don't believe that it's gotten to where it has right now. It doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't make sense. And even my dad was just asking, he's like, is that a good investment? Like, should I really be thinking about that? And I was like, there are so many other things that like make way more sense. Why are we talking about Doge? But they say it'll go up to maybe $1 and such. And it's like, I can't say, have you looked at their GitHub repo? Look at how many commits there were in the last year. Like 4, maybe 0, you know? Like there's no community. Well, there's a community and such, but there's no, I don't understand. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like why it's just being so hyped by celebrities and stuff. And it's done well. Somebody who bought $5,000, I saw a tweet the other day, and a person bought $5,000 worth a year or 2 years ago, and their Robinhood or whatever it was has $1 million now. And so you're like, I'm happy for that person, you know, like go you. I'm a bit sad that's not me, but hey, that's cool. So I don't want to hate on anyone winning and such, but just it doesn't make sense to me right now as the thing to be choosing over even Bitcoin, Lightning Network and such, but over other smart contract platforms that seem to be a lot more robust. Like I'm getting much more blown away by Cardano by the day.
Oh, okay.
So the history is Ethereum started with like 8 co-founders, right? And one of them was Vitalik, and then 2 others were, one was Chris Atkinson or something like that. And then another one was someone else. I forget. I'm still learning. And then they kind of had a dispute, and Ethereum of Vitalik wanted to keep Ethereum as a nonprofit, and then Christopher wanted to take it for profit or something like that. And then they had a dispute, and he went off and made Cardano. And then the other guy, third co-founder, went off and made Polkadot. And one of them was like the chief tech officer before Vitalik. And then when Cardano was happening, the idea behind it was they wanted to do it with scientific, rigorous testing. And so they have a bunch of research papers and scientists, and they've funded a lot of research programs and PhD programs in different universities around the world. And so they are a bit slower to innovate in a certain way, but that's because they have everything being tested rigorously by scientists and PhD programs to then create the next step of a protocol or something like that. I need to go more into the details of it, but that seems a lot more sturdy, right? In a certain way. So it's a nice hedge in a way to keep looking into. And I was watching a video of the guy from 2017 and the video of him yesterday, and he's saying similar things. He's like, he was basically saying Ethereum's going to have scalability problems. Their transaction per seconds are going to have a problem. Interoperability is going to be a problem. These are the things that we're trying to fix. Like Bitcoin is the first level. If we're talking about levels, it was the first generation, first thing to prove the concept of P2P, peer-to-peer cash. Then you've got Ethereum. That was the second one that blew everything away with the smart contracts and dApps. And now we're going into these level threes or third tier generations, is what he's saying, which really seemed to me like they're just brother sister to Ethereum at generation 2. But he was like, these are the things that Cardano is kind of figuring out, and this is why we're better type thing. And they're like helping and focusing on a lot of developing countries in Africa and Ethiopia, and government they just partnered with to create identification on the blockchain and scorecards or something for their students in Ethiopia. So I think it's really interesting. I don't understand enough of it, but over the next few weeks, I'm going to keep diving down and I'll report back here.
Cool. Looking forward to seeing what more you have to say.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you're having you're questioning the whether or not we need to go the proof of work route, and like whether or not Bitcoin will stay as this like head honcho status for the long term. I think that's the biggest like point of contention between the Bitcoin maximalists and kind of like everyone else. And Ethereum is actually not that far away. I think it's like 30 to 40% of Bitcoin's market cap. And so it's not that far away. It'll be interesting, I guess. Like, yeah, it's just something that's never happened before. It's something that it almost happened in late 2017 after the Bitcoin Cash fork. Like Bitcoin Cash almost reached parity with Bitcoin. Oh, you're muted.
Oopsie, sorry about that. Oops. I didn't realize that. That's interesting.
It was for like 15 minutes. Like where the market cap got really close and then it separated again. Like the market cap of Bitcoin Cash was higher than Ethereum for like 30 minutes.
Wow. Yeah. So right now, if I remember correctly, I've been looking at it for the past day as well, is market cap for Bitcoin is like 1.01 trillion. Market cap for Ethereum, I think, was 383 billion. And then 3, 4, 5 are around the 70 to 80 billion market cap range. And the thing that I don't understand, it's interesting you brought up Bitcoin Cash, is right this second, Bitcoin Cash about a month and a half ago was around $650. That was when I was playing the blockchain poker. So I know that because I was thinking about it. Just in the past 2 days to 3 days, it's gone up like 30 to 50%. And before that, I was going up a bit. So now it's like 1,200 to 1,400. I don't remember what. And I don't know what it is that sparked Bitcoin Cash to come up in the past few days, even though there has been a bit of a bull run on like Ethereum and most coins in general, except for Bitcoin's kind of stuck in its pattern. But I just don't understand why Bitcoin Cash of all of them was going up so much, for one thing. But
I don't think everything needs a reason.
Yeah, no,
Like
it's true.
it could just be a random group of people happens to buy it at the same time, and then
Dogecoin. That's what Dogecoin is right now.
Yes, yeah. And then it just randomly happened to, like, other people seem to randomly notice it, and like there are people who do like momentum trading where they like try to ride that wave. I mean, it seems terrifying.
That seems very, very hard.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, things go up and down, and right now it seems like things are going up. But yeah, it's not, I don't think it's really, I guess that it's good for the ecosystem because it funds new projects and it sends a sign to the market that this is something to be taken seriously, or like if you're a developer that you could like make your career into the crypto world. Like there's a lot of good things that happen when the price goes up, but one bad thing is that a lot of people think that they're geniuses because you can pretty much buy anything. Like Ripple is still going up.
It's at 150 right now, right? It's crazy, or 130 now. It's crazy. It was at 33 cents just, what is it,
Yeah.
2 months ago?
But so there are people who like hold that and think very highly of themselves, and yeah, I think that's potentially dangerous. Like it's not like a sustainable long-term thing to always have things grow and always have your assets like go up some crazy percentage. Like even on the report that you had linked to, it was saying like, oh, Bitcoin has only gone up by 2% in the last month. It was outperformed by all this other stuff. And it's like, dude, the S&P 500, we're kind of used to seeing it go up on average like 4 to 5% every year for the long run. And like, yeah, the last decade has been like 9% or whatever, but like I think it's important to keep those expectations in check. But yeah, we'll see.
And also, if you think about it, Bitcoin was $10,000 in December.
Yeah.
How much more? And Ethereum was $400 in December, right? So
yeah,
it's 3,500 today. Interesting. An all-time high around, basically. But
yeah, not to say it can't go up, or that it doesn't deserve to be really high. Like I think there are a lot of reasons why everything could go up more. We may or may not have a crash.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. If we do, it's gonna be sad. But yeah, there's an interesting thing in that report was Bitcoin's dominance sank to a 3-year low of 49%. So I thought that was a fascinating thing, at least compared to the 1 month thing, where you used to be like over 50, of course, 60s and stuff of the domination of market cap and whatnot of Bitcoin. And now it's going under 50. It's just pretty big, to be honest. Seems like a lot more Eugenes of the world are really making it,
Yeah, I don't think Eugene has any Bitcoin. It's interesting.
That's amazing.
Which is funny. I give him shit all the time because I say, hey, if
hello, Daddy. Daddy's talking to me. Well, no, where John says hello, or Dad says hello. I mean,
oh, cool. Hello.
John says hello back. Anyways, back to you.
Yeah, I give Eugene shit all the time because I tell him if you had put all your money into Bitcoin and forgotten about it, how would you have done relative to how you're doing right now? And he's like, I would have done better.
Oh,
Like,
really?
oh
Interesting. I I I couldn't tell. I feel like Eugene is probably onto something though. I think he might
yeah.
outperform
So
Bitcoin.
it could be different like a month from now. So who knows?
Yeah. The 2017, and it was interesting the history he was giving about the drop. He was playing in 2017 and such. It's like, wow, I wish I were that cool. I only
You are
knew
that
about
cool, Hugh.
Bitcoin and I just like bought at the
Wait, you
all-time
did?
high and
Oh
then it
yeah.
dropped like 40% and then I was like, I'm selling. I'm sorry. I was like looking at my dad, like, don't look at me.
Yeah, the people who made money from that are the people who have been buying for the last 3 years. Like,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is just like it's just the easiest way to do it. You just like keep buying with any money that you don't need for a long time.
Yeah.
But
My
whatever.
personal portfolio, I don't have much in it, but Bitcoin's now less than Ethereum for me and my
Oh,
slips.
interesting.
Yeah. Um,
Nice.
and also with the rise of Ethereum and the down of Bitcoin, I guess. But it is interesting.
Nice.
I'm I'm a late adopter to this whole thing, but I'll get into it. I'm excited.
Yeah,
I want to make stuff.
you're also doing your startup at it's like you didn't have too much disposable income for a year or so. So
Yeah.
yeah.
$500.
Yeah.
And
And I spent many years like trying to get a software job. Just
yeah, I look
like
at it now. I'm just happy to be where
yeah,
I
you're
am.
like
Whatever.
I'm good. It's like
Did a good job. We'll get there. Takes time. Snowball it, right?
yeah. How about a tangent of a question?
Yeah.
Under what conditions would you look into doing your own startup again? Because just as some background for those listening, it was Hugh's ambition to start a company, get funding, hire people, like make it into a thing, like kind of like this rosy picture of working with the homies and building something cool and people want it, and then just continuing to raise rounds of funding and then IPO, bam. It's that easy, right? So under what conditions would you would you look into doing your own startup again, and is that still how you see things?
That's really funny. The rosy picture, the happy path, no edge cases.
Starry-eyed.
And then it turned into 10 months of just slave labor and went nowhere. Did you know one time I was so poor that my friends were going to Panera Bread or just a place right around the corner at Tempe Marketplace to eat lunch, and they invited me. I had such a strapping for cash that I had to make my own spaghetti dinner lunch and bring it there and plop it on the table and be like, "Can we eat outside? Because I can't afford to buy a meal right now." Because that's in like tournament poker. Have you ever? There's a thing called outs, and you can calculate how many hands you have left in a game by calculating the amount of big blinds the amount of money slash tokens or chips you have divided by the big blinds.
Mhm.
And so if it's over 20, you're in a really good spot and you can keep playing your strat. But if you're
Mhm.
under 20 in the 10 to 20 range, you have only so many outs left that you should start to loosen up your hand and play a bit more radically. And then if
Oh.
you're under 10 outs, then you should really think about starting to go all in for most any hand that's a pair plus at a higher level or something else that are offsuits
Mm.
that are pretty mediocrely good, but you just play it. And it's more gambling as you go down. So I was basically at the 10 to 20 outs range at that time. So I was basically counting my life and my money when trying to do the startup as poker blinds. And I was like, I only have so many outs, and a meal was a percentage of an out, like a $20
Wow.
meal or 0.5%. I don't know. But
Mm-hmm.
if you think about it, I was like, oh my God. So it was funny. I didn't go to 20 outs. I'd calculate it like 100 meals or 200 meals or something. But it was still like, I don't have that many meals I can hang out with friends and have a good time with left. I should probably start finding a job. But long way around is, yeah, I'd be so down. Is I just don't. I personally really am becoming more interested by the day in blockchain. Right, that's basic. The thing that I was actually talking about as I was asking a mentor from Airbnb, one of our newest subscribers is Tony, a creative director from Airbnb. And
Oh
we were
yeah.
talking, yeah, yesterday. We were
Shout out
talking
to
about
Tony.
designs. Tony, he's like, that's awesome. Yes, Dad?
Please pardon the silence.
Dad likes to just walk up and express something here and there. You know, so.
Like Hugh, I was thinking about ancient Greece.
This time it was he went to get the mail and he wanted to show me some mail.
Okay.
With that, I was expressing this idea that I've been thinking about in the past 2 months, maybe a month and a half, and I don't understand it yet, and I'm really trying to figure it out. Is there a way to create a company that doesn't have to go the Delaware C Corp route, creating vesting shares and such, and having equity pools just for your employees, and then equity pools for shareholders and stuff, and then going to an IPO and having all the bureaucracy and all the lawyers and legal documents? Is there a way to create a tokenized company with a governance token, possibly, that is able to do all the things of a Delaware C Corp with regards to governance, structure, tokenization, distribution of equity, and have it be totally decentralized? And then you automatically have voting rights built in, and anybody in the early stages who just pieces out, then I find the 1 year vesting cliff and the 4 year vesting schedule to be very old school. And I think it's actually really unhealthy in a certain way, having gone through it myself at certain times where you're like, I have 1 month left, even though I've been at a company for over a year now. Just getting to that year for me was like really difficult because I was like, I feel forced at 9 months to stay here for 3 more months. I feel upset, like I see the pros and cons of vesting schedules and such, but I really do think proof of work is important in a certain sense. But I do wonder if like proof of work without such hard cliffs, with a bit more dynamic, even you get a token per day distribution, right? We weren't able to do that. You can only go to Carta and get so much. And right now it's every month you get vested. But if there's a way, probably weeks or days are too little, but if there's a way to create a governance scheme of X amount of people can, like, one idea was, if you have, in the beginning of a startup, you have no one. And say for me, for example, just I'm a designer, developer, a mediocre developer and designer, but I want to get someone that's better, right? And I don't want to do any of it. Say I'm just like working and I'm like, whatever. If I wanted to get a designer, I could pay him or something. But also, if you wanted to give him equity, it's not a thing until you have to pay $2,000 to have a Delaware C Corp filed in Delaware, or you do an LLC and you don't really get equity shares and stuff because it's an LLC, and then you have to pay a lawyer $1,000 an hour to even get a the document written. I forget what it's called. And so I just think, like, even just to start up a company right now takes so much time and work and effort and money from bureaucracy and lawyers. I'm just like, how does one, two ideas. First idea, how does one, and I'm sure there are for this, how does one create a Webflow UI for creating smart contracts, right? The first thing. So it's just easy for anybody, drag and drop in a way. And the second one is, how does one spin up companies really quickly in a decentralized way that allows for governance and token economics to be done, and for allowing for equity transfer, whatever, just dissemination, I guess, or spreading out, and governance and voting structures built in for voting on a new feature, right? Like why can't I don't know. I don't know enough about it yet, but that's kind of where I'd be interested in trying next, just for fun.
That would be really cool. I think Coinbase was trying to do some fancy stuff with instead of an IPO, they would issue some kind of token and have uh, sort of similarities with some of the things you're suggesting, but I think a lot of that stuff wasn't really fleshed out yet, and so
They were too far down the series raises on real fiat. So
oh yeah,
I think it's because like Delaware C Corp legalese with a lot of shareholder stuff, and then a lot of people that they probably raised from that aren't all just cutting edge investors, and some probably wanted more the IPO route. And once you're at a certain level in certain series A, B, C, D, you don't have full say, of course, as everyone knows. You've got board members that have equity stake, and they have voting rights, and they have investor voting rights, and employees don't have anything, right? So different class shares. And so with all of that, their train basically sailed. Even though they were one of the first that probably could have strong-handed it, they weren't able to, is how I see it. And no company yet far has been able to. I've only seen two types of companies, right? There's, Tesla and Amazon, Google, Facebook, Coinbase, IPOs, goals of everybody. The other one is if you start a startup, the other goal, like one goal is to go IPO, right? The other goal is to go the base camp route, like David Hannemeyer Hansen and lots of other people who just go the lifestyle business, quote unquote, but they have a really good valuation or return on profits every year, so that they can be self-sustaining and grow at a consistent pace, but they don't grow at exponential paces, but they have a lot more control and maintain a lot more equity. So it's basically this trade-off right now, like exponential scale for a lot of loss of rights and power or control, and then staying here, but with the risk of maintaining lifestyle company and never really making breakout velocity. So I guess that's what kind of also really started it last week to think more on it was the IDO idea from Eugene, but the fact that we have US regulations and such. I'm wondering about just how even to make a token right now. So I don't know how to get too detailed, but I'm wondering if there's like a way to just spin up a token and then to something in the middle, kind of people can buy in and buy out, invest in, invest out, with wallet atomic swaps and whatever for whatever coin you're on and token you're on. So
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Like I think it's important to note that Coinbase was still the first company of its kind, and it had a successful IPO. Like it was a crypto. It was a primarily crypto company that had a successful IPO. So like that says a lot.
Huge.
But yeah, I don't know. I see what you're saying. You're saying like if we had this blockchain / smart contract universe, instead of paying for all these lawyers and all these fees to get something legally started as a company, we could use some of these decentralized tools to lower the barrier to getting some kind of company started.
And distribute voting rights and governance and
and just like automate the things that maybe in the past you had like an investor relations team, or maybe you had I don't know.
Right, like one massive issue is an early founder. I have one of my closest friends from San Francisco. That's not you. She started a cricket chip startup with a friend, and they got on Shark Tank and got investment from Cuban himself, Mark Cuban, right? So they go good them. But one of their biggest problems in the beginning with their crypto chip company was they had 3 co-founders, and their third co-founder was kind of like I don't know, the artistic designer or something, but then wanted to do other things. So they kind of had disagreements, and she had to go part ways, right? But the biggest problem is with a lot of new founders and a lot of people that don't have the type of lawyers, which none of us can afford, is they didn't have a truly good founders agreement / I forget the real name. I haven't talked about startups in so long, for the real document. And in the real document, they didn't have a very good way to do vesting cliffs and whatnot for equity disbursements. And so that lady and all three of them had equity, right? There wasn't a very good vesting schedule. And so when the lady was not doing very much compared to the others, the other two started to feel it was very disproportionate while she's getting a similar amount of equity type thing. Even though, of course, it can never be perfect. It's like a relationship. There is that moment where it's like too much, right? And someone just then wants to walk away and going cold feet. So if someone went cold feet, she, in a perfect world, should have just gotten a proportion of what she had, right? Or, if there weren't cliffs and stuff that were miswritten and stuff, they would have just been vesting equally. And if she left, then she would just stop here and the others would keep vesting. But that didn't happen. So that's why I'm like, this is one of the massive issues for most new startups and founders. People are figuring out their stuff. People come and go. People don't like the stress. People don't like the amount of time or whatever. And you just have to have more lawyers, right? You have to have a really good thing. So if there could be a smart contract of your, God, I really wish I remembered the name, but vesting schedule agreements for everybody, and just daily tokens are deposited. That's freaking cool. Or weekly, say. Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. Or monthly, or tri-monthly. I just don't think yearly is fair.
Just every second. Andreas Antonopoulos has a talk where he talks about the idea of streaming money.
Huh? What is this? Tell me more.
It's also in his book, The Internet of Money. But I mean, he's going to do a way better job than I am. But all he says is, if we have any good enough layer 2 solution, which the Lightning Network could be, then you can just, like, we can live in this world where instead of getting paid every 2 weeks or getting paid twice a month, we're just always slowly getting paid.
That's amazing. Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
I love it. The thing is, how does one do that? That's amazing. Yeah, the transaction per second throughput's the biggest problem. My goodness. Yeah, I was wondering, as you said that, is, do you know of a source that has a comparison of the transaction per seconds currently of everything with layer 1, and then another one of comparisons of the layer 2s, and then another one of the proposed solutions of the next 8 months to 3 years of the transactions per seconds that they could ascertain?
No.
Okay. Trying to find
that. Sounds like a question for Google.
Yeah, but it's hard to Google that. I'll have to find it though.
Yeah.
Because that's what I want to, because that's what's making me less and less convinced about Bitcoin, that I don't understand yet enough about transaction per seconds compared to like a Visa network transaction per second throughput. Even with the Lightning Network, I don't think it scales up to fast enough. And if it keeps scaling, I don't think it scales up fast enough. Or maybe it does with the layering system you're talking about. So I need to learn more about that. But with regards to, these other ones, as I'm learning more about like Cardano and Ethereum and stuff, they're really proposing that they can do a lot more throughput for transaction per second. But I want to get to the details before I start spewing anti-Bitcoin
propaganda.
Yeah, propaganda, exactly. I still like Bitcoin a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just assume that it's being worked on. I mean, there is that textbook I showed you about the Lightning Network that
yeah,
I think I read like one page of the book, and then I was just like, I'm gonna go do something else. Like it's dense stuff. I don't know how people do it. Like, yeah. Well, there we go. Talking about Bitcoin again.
Yeah, that was funny that the question to start a startup ended up back at crypto, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like crypto is a space where it's if the assumption that it's the next big wave is true, then there's a lot of opportunity for startups. Whereas if you or I opened a bakery, it's gonna have to be a really good bakery for it to survive.
Every loaf would be backed by an NFT. Block bakery. The neighborhood block bakery. Would you be interested in starting a startup, or would you do it again? Have you? What are you thinking?
I would be interested in doing the lifestyle business that you mentioned. So I think it would be cool to make a really niche software product and then just like be really good at that one thing to a point where it's not worth it for vendors to build it themselves. And instead you're just working on this little startup thing, and I would definitely go the base camp approach where
I love that. I love it.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about the IPO approach. It just doesn't seem fun, to be honest. And the lifestyle seems amazing. And then if you can like sprinkle in a bit of tokens, seems like it could be fun. That's
He
kind of
was
where my
all
head's
about
at.
sprinkling in some tokens,
I
having
think they're
some
so cool. I don't
governance.
know. I don't understand. Yeah. Or if it's just like a small thing, sure. But they seem fun.
Yeah.
I just want to write a smart contract. Give me 2 weeks. That's my goal, is to write my first smart contract.
Cool.
I
Go
don't know
for
what,
it.
but I don't know which one I'm going to write it in. And that's why I'm doing so much research on the 3 top smart contract players.
I think Ethereum Solidity ecosystem might have the most documentation, but I don't know. Like it's just like has the biggest developer ecosystem. And I've heard Solidity is pretty close to JavaScript. But yeah,
That
it would
makes
be
sense.
cool. It just be like, if it's Monday, like make the background blue.
Yeah.
Just something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like just something totally random.
If Monday, deposit a Satoshi in John's wallet.
Right?
You're welcome. You're going to be wealthy, man. Oh.
Sweet. But yeah, I I don't have interest in creating the next $1 trillion company. I
That doesn't sound fun.
Yeah.
Except if you can do it anonymously. I'm thinking about that. I wouldn't want to be wealthy and known. Maybe in like a small little circle or marketplace. But if you pull a Zuckerberg and you have to go to like Thailand and with bodyguards, life just seems, it just isn't worth it to be wealthy, in my opinion. Like anonymity is so important.
It's a small cost. Like I think he had a conversation with his wife when he was thinking about selling Facebook, and he for him it was just kind of like, okay, we could sell the company and then just retire and live like a perfectly comfortable life. And I think he was just like, but I like building things. Like I don't know what else I would do if I didn't have this company. So he didn't sell. And like all of his board members were like, what the heck? Like, why would you not sell to AOL or whatever company it was? But yeah, can't even imagine that life, like taking private jets and like speaking to Congress. It's like
Yeah, none of that sounds interesting or appealing. The
yeah,
thing is just like, even like Obama or any president, they still have to go around with security guards, right? Even after they're the president, they're still president, right?
yeah.
It just doesn't, like, I wonder how Satoshi did it. Like that's something I play around with. Is it possible to start a company that's totally anonymous? Like seriously, and see where it goes. But truly anonymous, kind of like Satoshi played it. And is it possible? And if so,
Or
how?
it could just be, you could just be known in your circle. Like
Yeah.
there aren't that many like big tech companies, and like yeah, like most CEOs are just going about their normal lives. Like let's say like even if we wanted that, like it's most likely not going to happen.
That's true. That's a good way to put it, actually. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
So
Don't want to risk it though. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not that big of an ego. But with regards to you though, what would it be? Do you know what it would be? Do you have like a fun idea you'd want to do, or are you just still exploring?
oh, like a business?
Yeah, yeah, for your lifestyle business that's either on or off the blockchain.
Might be a might be a podcast. So to our 1 or 2 listeners, if you know any sponsors, come hit us up.
All right. So this is the idea that I've been thinking about. Every episode we have every week, we have a token that we say, if you do something, you get this token. And then people over time can accrue tokens for a hidden Easter egg per episode. It's kind of like
Hey, if you want to set that up,
that's like what my project I've been thinking about. I was like, how do I do this?
If you want to set it up, I did the website. You do the NFT thing.
I'll do our tokenomics, dude. All right, I'm down. I'm turning like red. This is super fun.
But you're muted again.
No, I'm not.
Okay,
is MTEA?
What's that?
Our token acronym.
Oh, I don't know. Make up whatever you want.
MT. I don't know. Okay. I've been telling people about Moon Tea, and it's actually been really funny. I didn't realize that tea would be so confusing. I'm like, yeah, it's the Moon Tea podcast, and like Moon, MONT, as in tea, the letter T, and I'm like, no, like drinking tea on the moon.
The website.
Yeah. It was just on a phone the last 2 times I talked about it, and so
yeah. But yeah, I think a really
just
cool.
Send up the website. I never thought about that.
Moonteapodcast.com. That's why I made it.
Oh, I've been searching up YouTube
No, the link is right there.
Like, oh my god, that's smart. All right.
Or go to the website and then send them whatever the YouTube links to.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Cool, because if you type Moon Tea, it's someone else. It's like this band of 1,000 subscribers.
Oh yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
But I think it's really cool when people interview other people and then people, like random people, listen. Like I think that's a really cool job. And so this podcast is just a way for me to be like, all right, how do I work towards this? And I love it. It may or may not work out. It may or may not work out, but I think it's really cool. Like, how cool would it be to be like, oh, hey, my favorite writer is writing their next book. Why don't you come on, like promote your book, and I get to talk to you.
Seriously, I'm into that. Absolutely. We should try to find someone to keep practicing that. Last week was really fun with Eugene, so we should find someone.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna start with our friends, so we can figure that out. But yeah, I guess I'm open to making some kind of product or service if I see a big enough problem and I'm capable of fixing it, and like other people want that thing. But like, I would not want to start a company because I want to start a company. Like it just doesn't sound like being a CEO. Before I knew what that entailed seemed really fun, but then when I saw what that entailed, I was like, this sucks. Why would you want this job?
That's exactly. I was like doing that startup that didn't go anywhere, and big dreams. And in the past 2 years, I've been like, I don't know. I don't think I would have wanted that, actually. That sounds terrible. I'd have white hairs.
Yeah. And it's like, actually, I like being a dev, and I like having like 2 meetings a week, and then the rest of the time just heads down, like fixing stuff. Like that's actually pretty nice. And maybe there are CEOs who have it like that, but I suspect that most do not. But yeah. Oh, well, we're right around time, and since you opened, I shall close. Wait, do you have any final parting thoughts?
Nothing for me. Fantastic. XOXO. Love you all.
Cool. Well, thank you to our 1 or 2 listeners again for listening to another episode of the Moon Tea Podcast with your co-host, me, John Kim, and him, Hugh Berryman. Tune in next week for another episode, and until then, I don't know, I don't have a catchphrase, but see y'all later. Peace.